Welcome to Brightside Parenting. I'm Kim Siggety, and today we're going to talk about what autism is and what autism is not. Look, I get it. Your kid does weird stuff. My kid does weird stuff too. Spoiler alert, all kids do weird stuff. But if they do enough weird stuff, that's when you find yourself in a doctor's office with a lady with a clipboard, and she says the word autism. And all of a sudden, time stands still. And you start to only hear bits and pieces of what she's saying, right? But through your heart pounding, you start to hear words like spectrum and delayed. And then you start to hear acronyms like ABA, ADHD, OT, ST, PT, SPD. But the only acronym that really seems fitting is FU.
Fudge. Only I didn't say fudge.
All of a sudden, you have all this grief and misplaced anger, and she was the one that said the word autism. So you don't know what to do at first. You cry, right? Just a few of those like pretty tears. You'll save the real ugly waterworks for later that night. Today, I want to offer you something a little different, and I hope it's comforting, but I hope it brings clarity as well. We're going to talk about what autism is and what autism is not. And I think that for a parent who has just gotten this diagnosis, this can be a really good place to start in understanding how to face this news. Autism is a clinical diagnosis. And that means that your child can't get a blood test or anything like that and then based on a level or something missing, be diagnosed as autistic. You go into an office with a psychologist or a developmental pediatrician, and they use the DSM-5 to look at the categories of behavior and development and social engagement. And if your child is lacking in enough areas, they receive a diagnosis of autism. Autism is a greater understanding of your child. I know it can stink, right? When they say the word and your child all of a sudden seems to have this label of autism. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can see a diagnosis as a gateway, as an opportunity, as a launching off point, because now insurance will recognize that your child has issues that need addressing, and you need that title in order to receive services. So as difficult as it can be to swallow that pill, it has its benefits, and it's important to see that because it can help lessen the blow of someone telling you that your child is not perfect. Autism is only one aspect of your child as a whole. And I think that's important to remember because we can get so tunneled or get such tunnel vision and focused on the autism and the areas that we're trying to help our child progress and grow. And it's okay to focus on that, but it's not okay to forget that your child has so much more to them than their autism diagnosis. And so I'd encourage you to remember that and embrace and encourage and develop all the areas of your child. It's just a part of them, and you're going to help and strive to do all you can to help them overcome their challenges, but they are so much more as a person than just a diagnosis of autism. Autism is the start of a big journey. That sounds really cliche. That sounds like I'm going on an autism journey, right? And it's not that way at all. It's a lot more dark and trying and difficult than that. But anyway, it is. It's the start of a big journey, right? It's an adventure, and there's no way of knowing what's going to unfold before you. It's just a matter of embarking on that journey with your child and moving forward. Autism is a really awesome club that you never wanted to be a part of. When you get a diagnosis of autism, you are joining a force of parents who are amazing and will teach you so much about life and about autism, but about yourself. And I will say that that's been one of the biggest benefits or the biggest bright spots for me in this whole experience of raising a child with autism are the parents that I've been able to meet and the things that they've taught me, and the ways in which we can commiserate and that we can share. So autism is joining a really great club that you never wanted to be a part of. Autism is an emotional roller coaster, and a physical roller coaster. And a mental roller coaster. Okay, it's like a whole theme park, right? Well, instead of a theme park, let's clarify this even further. It's like one of those sketchy carnivals that pop up on the side of the road, and you're riding these really sketchy rides that scare the crap out of you, and all it does is make you want to eat churros and cotton candy. I'd say that's a much more accurate description. So it's an emotional roller coaster, but it's all the rest of this stuff too. And it can be really tiring and it can be really scary. So I would say reach out to other people who have either ridden this ride or who are on it right now, and hold on for dear life. Autism is an opportunity. Life presents us with circumstances sometimes, and those circumstances are sometimes wonderful and sometimes they really suck. And it's what you do with those circumstances that makes the difference. And I will say that I have had times where I've handled autism and my life so much better than other times. But I can say that I am a better person for the way in which I've handled my son's autism. And I'm grateful for that. And I want to encourage you to do the same, because I really think it has the potential to make or break you as a parent and as a person. And there are so many instances where I think we see people where it does a lot more breaking down than it has building up. Take this circumstance and allow it to make you better. And I know it can be done, and I know it's not easy, but autism is an opportunity, and I want you to see it as such.
And now for something completely different.
We're going to move on and talk about what autism is not. First things first, autism is not a medical diagnosis. We touched on this earlier. Autism is not a medical diagnosis, which means that there wasn't a lab test, there wasn't something that your doctor was able to see or test or look for that tipped them off and said, okay, your child has autism and it's in this degree and this is the medicine you take for it. That can be difficult, because all of a sudden you're in this like nebulous state where you're not sure exactly how to treat it, how to address it, what to do. But I can say that you can learn as you go along in this journey that there are certain medical issues that often coincide with autism. That's not to say that they always are there for every child on the spectrum, but there are many medical issues that you can look into that your child might struggle with in addition to their autism diagnosis. Or those medical issues may actually be causing some of the autistic symptoms or making them worse. And if you address the medical issue, you can alleviate and sometimes completely eradicate some of the autistic symptoms that your child presents with. So we'll go into that in later episodes, but today it's enough to know that autism is a clinical diagnosis. It is not a medical diagnosis. Autism is not easy. Not that you thought it would be, right? But there is a measure of peace in accepting the fact that this is going to be hard. I don't want to send you into autism treatment or autism acceptance, your journey with that, thinking that this is going to be easy. It's going to be really hard and it's going to suck.
I can't do this anymore, man. My head's about to explode.
Most things in life that bring the most growth or the most change or the most benefit are often the hardest, right? So, autism is not easy. Autism is not the end of the world. I know that's not how I felt when I got the diagnosis, because someone took my child off the pedestal that I had placed him on and put him in my arms, and all of a sudden he felt broken, and so did our future. And I didn't know what to do. Things I thought would happen in life, I didn't know if they were going to happen. And that's a scary place to be, because you don't know how to dream anymore, I feel like, because you don't know the limits, you don't know the bounds of what you're working with, you know? So I would say that autism is not the end of the world, even though it may feel that way. And again, it's really all in how you approach this situation. It could be the end of the world for you, and you could sit and be depressed and not do anything about it. But you have the opportunity to get up off the couch and dry your tears and get to work. And then it's not the end of the world, it's the beginning of an entirely new world. And I think that that in and of itself can be amazing. And lastly, autism is not an experience that you should face alone. Sometimes we don't like to struggle publicly, right? That can be really hard because all of a sudden we're up for everyone's judgment and people can see our weaknesses and see the ways in which we fall short. I would say, screw it. Be imperfect. Struggle with your child in public. Reach out for help. Do those things that will bring the most help to your family, because help is available and abundant. You have to look for it, and you have to find the right group or the right people to help you personally, but it's available. So do whatever that looks like for you, whether you reach out online, whether you reach out somewhere in person. In later episodes, I'll talk about specific groups that I have found helpful and have been supportive for me. But reach out. Find ways to connect with other parents who have children on the spectrum, or just reach out for emotional support, because you're going to need it. And it's important to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your child. I've gone through stretches where I haven't taken care of myself and my whole family has suffered. So I know that it's important to take care of yourself and your sanity so that you can do your very best to help your child. So today, the bright side of parenting is that you now know what autism is and what it is not. And you can accept those things and you can move forward stronger because of it. So hang in there. You are a good parent. You are doing your very best, and the future is bright. Even when it doesn't seem that way, there is light and hope ahead of you. And I know that's true. And I hope you'll come back and that we'll just continue this journey together. Have a great day.